Okay, so this is a second video for my students and all the students at James River Yoga and anyone else who happens to come upon it. In this video, we'll do a class, probably an hour and 15-minute class. I actually have no idea. And as usual, we'll start with some stretches, some warm-ups, a series of abs. Not, if you saw the last video, that long series, a little bit of a truncated series of abs. And we're going to focus on hip openers, hip releases, yoga poses for the hips. So we have a strap or a bathrobe tie, whatever you have at home, tennis ball or something equivalent. I've got 2 blocks here. We will definitely need a block for our block lunge, but if you have a rolled blanket that's about block size, that'll work. And then I have a couple of blankets as well. So the blankets you can put under your knees when we're doing cat-cow, when we're in table pose, but they're important for sitting. So we're going to begin by sitting, and I'm folding my blanket in thirds, and you can sit cross-legged on your folded blanket, or maybe you're sitting in Vajrasana, so the thighs are parallel, maybe with your blanket underneath. I'm going to reach underneath my sitting bones, pull them back and apart, and then sit up nice and tall. So I'm actually on the front of the sitting bones. I'm on the perineum. So I have a lumbar curve. I can reach back and feel my low back just gently carves in. It's not an exaggerated lumbar curve, but I'm maintaining the natural curves of the spine. And then my head's just resting right on top of the spine, as if someone's pulling the backs of my the tops of my ears up to the ceiling. So there's no sense of the chin lifting up. It's not tucking. It's just resting there. There's no strain in the neck. Then I can bring my arms to cactus arms and feel the engagement, the shoulder blades on the back, and then keep that engagement and release the hands to the thighs, the palms up or down. And just settling in here, making whatever adjustments you need so that your seat is comfortable. I find that if you bring a little energy to the feet, if you spread the toes a little bit, it translates up into your seated pose, makes the whole pose more bright. And we'll take a few deep inhalations and long, complete exhalations. So you're filling the low belly, the mid-ribs, all the way to the upper lungs, and then exhaling completely. Lots of different ways to settle into the breath. Maybe you're breathing in to a count of 4, holding the breath to a count of 4, exhaling to a count of 4, and holding the breath out, and then breathing in again. So some people like that pause between the inhalation and the exhalation. Maybe you're simply following in your mind's eye the 3-part breath, low belly, mid-ribs, all the way to the upper lungs. If you practice with Ujjayi breath, feel free to use Ujjayi breath. It tends to be a settling, calming breath. It activates the diaphragm, particularly in the back body. Sometimes people feel like they can breathe more easily, more spaciously with Ujjayi breath. If you're not familiar with it, it's kind of like fogging a mirror with the breath, only you're breathing in and out through the nose with the back of the throat just a little bit closed off. It creates a little bit of friction, sort of a soothing sensation across the windpipe. And you can pause the video at any point. You can sit for 20 minutes or longer before your class. You can pause the video during the class. Maybe you want to do more abs than I'm doing, or you want to hold your poses longer. Just as you settle into the breath, notice the mind, it wanders. bring the attention back to the breath. So just for these few moments, just for the period of time that we're practicing, we're in the body, fully present, staying with the breath. Let's introduce a little movement. So, forgot about a sweater. Okay, here we go. A little movement. Release your arms at your sides. And then let the inhalation begin. And the arms follow up on the wave of the in-breath. Just relax the tops of the shoulders. Exhale, release the fingertips down to the mat. And then begin with your inhalation. The arms following up on the in-breath. Exhale, release the fingertips down. We're keeping the spine long, extending up through the crown of the head. Inhale up. And exhale completely. Inhale the arms overhead. Both arms overhead. Bring your attention to your right hand, and on your exhalation, bring the right hand to the floor. Lengthen through the left side body, pinning the left sitting bone down, reaching through the left fingertips. Inhale the arms overhead. Bring your attention to your left hand. Exhale the left fingertips to the floor and stretch through the right side body. Inhale the arms overhead. We'll do that once more to each side. On your exhalation, a stretch through the left side body. And inhale overhead. And exhale to the other side. Inhale the arms overhead. Both arms are long, sitting up nice and tall. Big inhalation. On your exhalation, spin the heart to your right and bring the fingertips down, maybe to your thigh, the floor, maybe to the mat. And inhale the arms overhead. On your exhalation, spin the heart to the left and bring the hands down. Just getting some movement through the spine. Inhale the arms overhead. We'll do that once more to each side. Exhale the heart to the right. The whole torso is revolving around the spine. Inhale the arms overhead and exhale. Trying to get some movement here through the whole length of the spine. Inhale the arms up. And then go ahead, bring the palms together. Bend the elbows so the base of your thumbs come to the base of your skull. And just stretch up, lengthen, do an eeny-weeny back bend here. And then go ahead and release the fingertips down to the mat. Go ahead and make your way off your blanket. And we'll recline on the floor here. So we're going to begin by stretching and moving a little bit. We'll move into some core practice. So lying back on your mat, reach through the fingertips, reach through the legs, the soles of the feet. You might hold one wrist and stretch through one side of the body, the other wrist and stretch through the other side of the body. So just noticing, maybe this is your first big stretch of the day, how good it feels. Your arms along the ears, bend the knees, and then separate your feet as wide as the mat. We'll just do a few rounds of windshield wipers, exhaling as the knees drop to one side, inhaling as the knees come up, exhaling to the other side. Inhaling back to center, just rocking side to side at your own pace, linking breath to movement. Try to do an even number to each side. Try to stay with Ujjayi breath if you like. And you can, if you like, pause with the knees dropped over. You can bring the lower foot to the upper outer thigh. Give it a little extra stretch through the side body, the hip. And back to center, the same on the other side. Exhaling the knees over, the lower foot to the upper outer thigh. And back to center. You can do a few rounds of twists here. So we're just warming up the spine here, getting some movement going, linking breath to movement. So exhaling as the knees drop over and inhaling back to center. Side to side. You can incorporate the arms. So I'm dropping my knees to the right I'm going to lift the left arm up to the ceiling, bring it across the body, palm to palm with the right hand. Stretch it along my ear and sweep back to a T shape. Inhale back to center. I'll do the same thing on the other side. The knees drop over. The opposite arm lifts up, across the body, along the ear, and sweeps back to a T shape. And then back to center. I'm going to bring my hands to the knees and just rock side to side across the sacrum. You can even hug the knees into the chest and roll from one side to the other. And then I'll lower my feet to the floor, thighs are parallel. I'm going to interlace my hands behind the head. And I'll just do an upper back stretch here. On my exhalation, the elbows lift, the shoulders round. I'm just curling into a ball. Just stretching out the fascia in the upper back, the connective tissue, giving it a little unkinking the fascia. And then back to center. So we'll do a few of the abs that I like to do before class. So take your index finger and bring them to the hip points, the bony top of the pelvic bones in the front body. And then bring your thumbs to the low ribs. And right now, with the feet parallel, the thighs parallel, we're going to draw the fingers and thumbs towards each other. In other words, draw the hip points and low ribs closer together. I'm actually pretty much flattening my low back to the floor. And I'm going to keep that engagement in the core. The arms in cactus arms. And with the abs engaged in that way, I'm lifting the hips. This is not bridge pose. It's kind of like reverse plank. So a straight line from the knees to the chin. And I'll spend 45 seconds here in this pose, but in class we'll spend a minute 15 seconds. The longer you stay in the pose, the more you feel its effects. If you notice that the hamstrings get grippy or tight, that's pretty common. You might press more into the heels to bring the energy more into the glutes and less into the hamstrings. This is a core strengthener, and that includes the hamstrings in this pose. So we're strengthening the hamstrings. And we're going to add in some movement, which makes it a little more challenging. You can keep both feet on the floor for this, or you can lift one foot, bring it to tabletop like they say in Pilates, release the hips down, and we're pulsing up on an exhalation. We'll do 8 of them. You can exhale through the mouth if you find that is helpful. Brings a little more power to the movement. So 8 on one side, lower the foot. We're keeping the hips level for this, releasing down and pulsing up. Keeping the hips level. And then both feet back on the floor. Go ahead and release the hips down and just give a little hamstring stretch here, holding behind one thigh, the other thigh. So releasing the hamstrings just a little bit, one leg, the other leg, as long as you like. And then we'll add in a different core strengthening practice. The feet are active, the shins parallel. I'm going to hold behind the thighs and then curl up into a ball, not really a ball-ish. So reaching the arms forward. I'm going to do 10 pulses. So I'm exhaling as the heart draws toward the thighs. And notice I'm trying not to sling my head back and forth, but just draw the ribs together. I think that might have been 10. I can't talk and count at the same time. Then I'm interlacing the hands behind the head and the elbow to the opposite knee. You can extend both legs out straight between sides. You can keep the legs still, or you can just bicycle pedal the legs. So we're doing a total of 10 of these, or 5 to each side. And then resting back on the mat. So if you like, you can do another 10 pulses, another 10 obliques. You can do as many of those back and forth as you like. Let's just rock across the sacrum here. And we're going to roll up to Navasana, trying to stop just at the back of the sitting bones. So bringing the shins parallel to the mat. And to make this a little more exciting, you might bring the arms to cactus arms, and you'll feel those muscles along the side body. And breathing here. And then you can place the feet parallel to one another, the fingers pointing forward, draw the shoulders back, so nice long spine, and then you can lift the hips. If you like to drop the head, if that feels good, feel free to do so. And release the hips down to the mat. So I'm going to do a little core strengthening series on the side. So forearm is parallel to the top of the mat. My legs are straight. This shoulder is not dropping forward, but really drawing back. I'm really using my upper back muscles. And I can use my left hand to assist the hips up. So let's do 20 of these pulses, exhaling as you pulse up. And you can exhale through the mouth if you find that helpful. Keep the head in line with the spine. I'm thinking that's around 20. And then the arm overhead. And let's do a couple of twists. You can do as many of these as you like. And then extend the arm along the floor. You're bending your knees so that the sitting bones and the heels are in line with one another. So it's not an actual chair shape. The heels are sort of in line with your butt. Keeping the edges of the feet together, lift and lower the top knee, and we'll do 20 of those. That's 4. Pretend someone's pushing you down while you're trying to lift the thigh and the knee up. Imagine someone's pressing down your leg at the same time you're trying to lift it up. So you're really bringing a lot of attention and energy to the pose. I think that was 20. So the other side. So left forearm, or the other forearm, whichever one you didn't do. Legs are straight, the feet are active, and I'm lifting my hips. And we'll do the same thing. 1. And then the arm overhead, and we'll do a couple of twists. And then the same thing, extending the arm along the floor, the head resting on the arm. And the knees are bent. And keeping the inner edges of the feet together, lifting and lowering the top knee. And we'll do 20 of those. So we're not rocking the hips, and we're not sort of using momentum. We're really trying to engage the glutes and use that engagement to lift and lower the knee. You can imagine someone sort of trying to push you down as you're trying to lift up. Let's pretend that's 20. And then go ahead. Let's do a couple of hip and hamstring releases here. You can do, first of all, some cat-cow movements. Let's bring it all back to symmetry. So in table here, and this is your angry Halloween cat pose. And we're moving from the tailbone, letting the ribs sink. And then when we get to the head, remember the sides of the throat lift up toward the ceiling. It's not just the chin cranking forward. You can let the tailbone round under, the ribs draw up, and the head drop. So a few rounds of movement in that way. And the next time you exhale and round over, just rest in child's pose. And you can let the hips drop toward the heels. You can even reach the arms forward and feel a nice stretch through the low back, the side body. This is one version of child's pose. You can also rest your head on your folded arms. You can stack your fists, rest your forehead on your stacked fists, or you can let your arms rest at your sides. It's meant to be a relaxing, restorative pose. Okay, let's do some hip and hamstring releases, sort of passive ones. We're going to use a tennis ball. So, beginning by, again, reclining. So not a lot of standing up in this practice. We're focusing on hip, what they call hip openers. So we've got the tennis ball. I'm putting it under the fleshiest part of the right buttocks. So sort of where your jeans back pocket might be. I'm going to let the left leg extend along the floor. I'm dropping the right knee open. And I like to extend the arms along the ears, but you can put your arms wherever you like. If you need to adjust where you are on the ball, kind of try to shift your body across the ball without lifting and lowering the leg. If you need to support the right leg with a block or a blanket, feel free to put a block or a blanket under the leg so it's a little less intense of a pose. So the idea is we're using our long exhalations, gravity, the weight of the body, the prop here, to create this fascia release around the piriformis, here at the base of the spine. Just enjoying the breath. And then we'll use the hand to assist the thigh up, remove the ball, drop the knee open, slide the foot along the mat, and you'll notice a difference, one leg to the next. And we'll shift to the other side, setting the ball under the fleshiest part of the left buttocks. I'm going to drop the left knee open, slide the foot, or keep the, no, I'm not sliding the foot anywhere. I'm just dropping the left knee open, and that's where it is. And I'm going to spend a minute here. Same thing, the arms can be wherever it's comfortable for them to be, along the ears, a little passive stretch, perhaps through the muscles that line the spine, maybe cactus arms. Maybe just resting your hands on your belly or at your side. So whatever works best for you. So one of the instructions in meditation practice is that when sensations, physical sensations or emotional ones, crop up in your practice, and they're so distracting you can't focus on the breath, then the instruction is to bring the attention entirely to those sensations, and in a particular way, just by noticing. For example, is this dull? Is it sharp? Is it diffuse? Does this sensation move in the body? Does it increase or decrease? So it's a way we can practice with sensations, especially uncomfortable ones, or emotions in our poses. And go ahead and lift the thigh, remove the tennis ball. We're going to drop the knee open and then slide the foot along the mat. And you'll feel usually the legs are a little bit heavier, more grounded, a little more freedom at the base of the spine. Okay, now I'm getting my strap. So, setting the tennis ball aside, getting my strap, and you might want to have your block as well because we're going to use that next. All right, checkered history with the strap. So, block is nearby, and I'm going to cross the left ankle to the front of the right thigh. I'm lassoing the ball of the right foot with the strap. And the strap's in my right hand. Now, where is the right leg? It is wherever I'm allowing myself to have space in the low back. So this is Tadasana. So those abs exercises were not our yoga alignment. That was just straight up abs getting into those deep muscles. This is the alignment of mountain pose. So this is a hip opener, figure 4, and I'm going to slowly lower the legs over toward Marissa, moving the camera, and bringing the left foot down to the floor. So you can hold this pose as long as you like. For purposes of our video here, we're spending about 45 seconds here. Now, here's a softer version of the pose. I'm letting the knee drift into my chest. A more challenging or a deeper version Might be to press my left foot into the floor to draw the left knee away from the chest. I'm lengthening through the right leg. You can feel this is a hip opener, a hip stretch, and I'm also extending through the right leg. So there's some hamstring action here. And I'm going to twist as well. A lot going on in this sort of fusion pose. I'm going to try not to press off on the right arm to come back to center. So I'm using the core muscles for that purpose. I'm going to set the strap aside, holding the left knee and foot. I'm lowering the right leg to the floor. Baby cradle pose. Another hip release. We do this one seated, standing. Here's, of course, the reclining version. And then happy baby pose. I'm holding my foot with the hand, but if you like, you can lasso the foot with a short loop of strap. And you're gently drawing the knee down toward the mat, lengthening through the right leg. You might, if you like, extend the leg over to the left. Maybe you're stretching through the right side body. So you can experiment with what feels good. We're not trying to create pain. And then I'm moving into a twist, the sole of the left foot on top of the right thigh. I'm bringing my right hand to the left knee. I'm taking a moment to lengthen. Inhale space through the spine, and then exhale the knee across the body. It's a twist. Keep the left shoulder down no matter where the left knee ends up. The left knee is probably not going to be on the floor. Your right hand can gently press the left hip away from the left armpit. Maybe coax the left thigh a little bit longer. And we're lengthening through the right leg as well. So notice the right leg often wants to check out. So I'm going to extend through the right leg and bring energy into the entire pose. You have to breathe pretty deeply here. This is a deep twist. So the yogis sometimes say twists are like massaging the organs, and you can kind of get the idea of that as your breath moves